We often discuss late-stage capitalism within possible futures as part of the collapse of modern Western civilization en route to decolonial futures. Of course, the Global South has experienced late-stage capitalism for far longer than the Global North has, since capitalism is basically the system of involuntary labor, or otherwise known as slavery, that the Global South is forced into by way of the destruction of living systems in our geographies and the violent enforcement of national, state, and municipal borders by Western governance models imposed onto our territories. What are some hallmarks of late-stage capitalism to you? What were the most annoying aspects of your experience of late-stage capitalism?
Yeah, I think it's interesting this perspective you brought about we are at a point where late-stage capitalism is the logical endpoint of a 500-year colonial project that is finally cannibalizing its own creators. And there are, of course, many more common known characteristics of late-stage capitalism, like the financialization of everything, this focus on personal profit and consumption as a kind of primary driver of self-worth, which I think I will come back to this point later on the most annoying thing for me, but so this penetration of the market logic into all spheres of life, the how globalization and production chains are like updated plantation systems when you start thinking about it, turbocharged, the ecological crisis that is driven by this growth imperatives that collide with planetary boundaries, the debt imperialism, this predatory lending that creates dependency relationships. Now we see this in green neocolonialism as well through the carbon markets, renewable energy, resource grabs, conservation projects, and this kind of culture of ethical consumption where guilt is often assuaged by the purchase of products with ethical signifiers. So this culture of shame and guilt that then feeds a performative industry that is not actually solving anything. But I think this kind of hyper individualization and financialization of everything kind of connects to what annoys me the most, because I think, okay, there is this thing, for example, we are working with decolonization, which is against the dominant system. And it's important that to acknowledge, I think, that late-stage capitalism is not the only system that makes the work of challenging power difficult. All the systems are like that. But I think what makes the system we are living now more annoying is exactly because of the ethnocide of the centuries of disconnection from culture and history that is deepened by this hyper-consumerism, narcissistic culture where community and solidarity is replaced by a shallowness, superficial identities, and kind of like, that's why I also think that reconnecting to the sense, like, as you were saying, stop doing this to yourself and to others around you, and connecting back to culture, to community, to systems of care and health. And how much late-stage capitalism kind of depends on this culture of disconnection and this severing, shaping our behaviors in such extent that alternatives seem kind of out of reach or gets rechanneled back into forms of consumption. And then I think there is this thing that really annoys me around surveillance and algorithmic capitalism that now is turbocharged by AI, and how AI is being imposed to us by all the things we use on email, on everything. It's just like AI is the default, and then you need to have a really hard time to kind of regain back control of that and not allowing your data to be captured from you. So I think these things really, really, really annoy me, and have been annoying me lately more and more, because it takes control also the algorithms of if what you are saying is going to reach people or not. It's kind of like you lose this sense of frustration and lack of control around the things you were saying. And yeah, I think those two came to mind immediately when you asked that question. And for yourself?
I think you covered a lot of the hallmarks. Maybe the only thing I would add is about like the sort of helplessness. Like there seems to be this kind of accepted helplessness when thinking about how people experience late-stage capitalism. It's, very common to hear that refrain of like, well, this is a system that we exist within. We need money to survive. So, what do you expect me to do? Like, I need a job, et cetera, et cetera. Um, I'm not saying that that's not real. I'm saying that the alternatives seem to be very, very far out of reach. To the point that people don't basically just simply get together and get themselves out of capitalistic society, which is possible. That's the thing. It's entirely possible, and people have done it, but also they've had to defend that. So this is the thing, like capitalism doesn't want you to leave capitalism. And in many places in the global south, that is, at the point of a gun. That's how it works. If you own land, at any moment in the global south, that land can be taken away from you by, a gigantic company with mercenaries that are shoving people off their land at threat of death. So these are ways that, even if you try to exit the system comes and, haunts you or looks for you or like forces you back into indentured labor. So a, a lot of, I would say, like the hallmarks of late stage capitalism as experienced in the global south are really on the basis of violence and coercion and slavery that are not, and it's so crazy to say this because like they're not really discussed, even though people experience them in the global south. You would read about them in like, global north journals looking at modern slavery or whatever, or business and human rights. But then you wouldn't hear global south people talking about these things. And I think this is definitely a big hallmark of like, everybody experiences this. This is unpleasant. We don't need to talk about it because we can't really do anything to change it. So this is what I mean by like the helplessness, that it's not even worth talking about because we we have no say over this at all, or I'll never earn enough to actually like own a plot of land, or I'll never be able to kind of like imagine myself growing my own food, or being in a community where we share land and grow food and like feed each other or something like that. It's kind of crazy to say that because in the global south that's kind of where it's easiest to do that. But I think so there's this like mental capture that I'm pointing to, and I wouldn't even say that's the most annoying thing for me, but I would say like that's definitely a hallmark of the experience of late stage capitalism in the global south. And then a hallmark that I would like to add about how the global north experiences late stage capitalism, which I find quite funny, is that you basically have millions of people who go online and create forums to talk about late stage capitalism. And it's basically just a trauma dump. It's one massive trauma dump. And then no one ever kind of says, well, we all experience this. This is all unhealthy. Like, let's, try to not stay in that place. everyone just kind of like really wants this place to trauma dump, because I think it goes back to that same point of like, well, we can't change this. Um, we're helpless, blah, blah, blah. And there's like millions of people doing that. So how can you say that you're helpless when you're millions of people? So I think obviously one of the mechanisms of late stage capitalism, how does it work, is on this very clear intention within capitalistic propaganda that you are an individual and you have to maintain your identity as an individual by commodifying yourself, by branding yourself with products, and by selling yourself as a certain like professional identity. And my understanding is that people in the global north have attached their sense of self-worth to this identity that capitalism wants them to curate from like the moment that they are, usually in their teens, right? Because they start attaching their identity to, well, I wear this brand, or I like this kind of perfume, or this is how I do my makeup, or this is how it kind of like gets rooted into when your identity is actually forming as a preteen or as a teenager or like going into adulthood. And then when you actually get to the point where you start to realize like this is all very unhealthy, you are already trapped in this identity, and it would be extremely traumatic to basically voluntarily destroy this identity. And then the thing is, like, if your parents have never basically taught you that that's very unhealthy, then essentially you're encouraged to go into that situation because the entire culture is built around encouraging that. Um, and then what happens in the global north is that, people say they want to get rid of capitalism, right? This very common refrain that you will hear, especially amongst young people. But then they don't want to get rid of the identity or the profit structures that they benefit from, or that they feel that they need, or that they cannot exist without capitalism. So that's when you get this, millions and millions of people going onto online forums for late stage capitalism and just doing like a bunch of memes, basically, because they don't really want to change it. They just want a place to complain about it. So the most annoying part of late stage capitalism for me is the branding. I hate to say it, but it's true. It's just so effective. It's so incredibly effective. So we're talking about behavioral science, propaganda, the branding for consumer products in particular. That is something to, again, like make you kind of like affirm yourself in your identity of like, well, I am this kind of person who wears this kind of thing. Or people can know that I, like this, or that I do this because they can see me like displaying it, basically. Whether it's clothes or, watch, or like the type of phone that you have or whatever it is, it's like, you know, says something about you. And it does. That's the thing, because that's the way we structure capitalism around identities and consumption to feed those identities. And that is a system which teaches you that you are not part of a collective. You are just like one person, and you need to like be unique, and you need to, you know, be very focused on how you express your identity, and not to be able to learn how to work with people, to self-organize, to get yourself out of the system that we want to enslave you within.